All right. Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakal Quitash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who have taught me this truth and who rule well in this truth. Shalom to the 144,000 and the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel that is scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. Peace and mercy unto you, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. You are the true Hebrew Israelites that the Bible speaks of. You are the true chosen people of the book of the Bible. All right, so what I want to get into today is some news, man. All right, to report on some news, to let you know what's happening, what's going on, so you're not living under a rock. All right, because if you know what's going on, and maybe you don't, all right, that's why the prophets are set up to report on this news, to watch, all right, to let the people know what's happening. All right, there's been rumors, all right, of the U.S. Doing a ground invasion on Iran. Boots on troops on the ground, boots on the ground type invasion. All right, that's why you had 5,000 Marines sent to the Middle East. All right, then you had 3,000 more troops sent to the Middle East from the 82nd Airborne Division. All right, so you got 7,000 troops altogether. Well, way more than 7,000. There's way more than 7,000 troops. I'm just talking about what just has been sent over there recently. All right. So, as things escalate, as it says right here, this the title of this article, Pentagon gears up for a major Iran war escalation. All right. It says thousands of troops have arrived in the Middle East. All right. It says the U.S. military is reportedly gearing up for weeks of ground operations in Iran. You see, but Iran is ready, man. See, things are bro. Like I keep saying as I report on this news, all right, about the U.S. and Israel war against Iran. Things are just going to keep escalating and escalating and escalating till this thing becomes an all-out third world war, all right, a nuclear war, all right, because you got Iran, all right. This article, Iran, it says Iran warns it is waiting for arrival of U.S. troops to set them on fire, and that's exactly what they're going to do to those troops, man. Set them on fire, because that's the most dumbest thing you can do is have a ground invasion in Iran. Like they ain't got artillery to just sweep them, man. But let's read these articles, and to inform you, to let you know what's happening, what's going on, to report on what's happening. All right. So you know what's popping off, man. You know what time we're living in. The scriptures say, measure the time diligently in itself. All right, so let's get into it, all right? Pentagon gears up for major Iran war escalation. All right, the U.S. military is reportedly gearing up for weeks of ground operations in Iran. U.S. defense officials are preparing for potential ground operations in Iran that could extend over several weeks as thousands of Marines continue deploying to the region. All right. According to sources, military leaders are anticipating what has been described as a significant escalation. Woo! All right. Though any action is likely to fall short of a full-scale invasion, all right, officials told the Washington Post. All right, you see, significant escalation, and that's the Lord is making things escalate, man. Things are going to keep escalating and escalating and escalating, all right, until all these nations, all right, it's a full-blown world war, literally. This is what the true prophets and the true servants of the Lord, which are the Israelites of Great Millstone and the ones that teach in like manner, have been prophesying about. We've been telling you about this third world war that's coming, because it's written all throughout the scriptures, all throughout the Bible. All right, this third world war. And America's destruction in this third world war is written all throughout the Bible too. All right? And this is what's being played out. You know? It's playing out right now. This is the beginning of it. The beginning of sorrows. All right? The U.S., Israel, Iran, Russia, all of Russia's allies, all these nations play a very great part in end-time biblical prophecy. You understand? Especially the U.S., Israel, Russia, Iran, NATO, and the EU. All right? So let's keep reading. It says, instead, the strategy is expected to rely on special operations forces supported by conventional infantry units. All right? It is still uncertain whether President Donald Trump has approved or will approve these reported plans. All right? Wars and rumors of wars, man. All right? It comes to the USS Tripoli. It says it comes as the USS Tripoli arrived in the Middle East on Friday, bringing an additional 3,500 sailors and Marines. So you got different U.S. aircraft carriers out there. You got like 3 of them, you know, that I know of, right? Or that has been reported, right? It says on board was the Tripoli Amphibious Ready Group and elements from the 31st Marine Expeditionary Unit who are based in Japan. They were conducting exercises in the area around Taiwan when they were ordered to the Middle East almost 2 weeks ago. The unit's main task typically include intercepting vessels and seizing territory, according to the Wall Street Journal. All right, U.S. Central Command said that in addition to the Marines, the Tripoli also brings transport and strike fighter aircraft as well as amphibious assault assets to the region. All right. Yeah, so I guess like submarines or any type of submarine amphibious, like it says, assault asset, right? It says the USS Boxer and 2 other ships, along with another Marine Expeditionary Unit, have also been ordered to the region from San Diego. All right. The deployment coincides with the entry of the Iranian-backed Houthis, all right, into the conflict after they launched an unsuccessful missile attack on Israel. It comes as the president mulls whether to send an additional 10,000 troops to the Middle East to give Washington more military operations. All right. The Trump administration has insisted that the war is drawing closer to an end and that it is seeking peace talks with Tehran. But Tehran don't want no more peace talks, man. They're tired of the US and their peace talks, because they always break in peace talks, man. Like Esau says, all right? Like Esau says, that's like the scriptures say, all right? His words are smoother than butter, all right? But in their heart were drawn swords. We already tried to have peace talks, and guess what? No peace is coming. The scriptures say, when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, and they shall not be able to escape. All right? No peace is coming, man. No peace at all is coming. All right? That's why, you keep hearing about peace talks, but no peace is coming. When they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction falleth upon them, and they shall not be able to escape. That's what is coming. Sudden destruction, sudden chaos and misery and suffering. All right? It says while leaving, and they're lying about that, man. It says the war is drawing closer to an end. Nah, man, the war is going to keep escalating, bro. It's going to. This war is not going to come to an end. is going to come to a third world war. Thus save the Lord Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, thus save the Bible. All right. So let's keep reading. It says, on Friday, Trump declared it's sort of finished, but it's not finished. It's got to be finished. All right. Meanwhile, Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt warned on Tuesday that if the regime in Tehran did not bring its threats and nuclear ambitions to an end, the president is prepared to unleash hell. All right. And, you know, that's what a lot of people are coming to the conclusion, all right, that nukes are getting ready to be dropped on Iran. All right, and that's going to bring, and that's what's going. Guess what's going to happen? Guess what's going to happen if that happens? Russia about to come through with that power. Iran going to come through with that power, like the scriptures say. All right, they shall come through like the wild boars of the wood, and with great power shall they come. That's talking about Iran. You know, when you read 2nd Ezra, the 15th chapter, all right, it mentions the Carmanians, which is the Iranians, all right, which is Iran. Right? It says, Leavitt added in a statement to the Post, it's the job of the Pentagon to make preparations in order to give the commander-in-chief maximum optionality. All right. It does not mean president has made a decision. The timeline of the operation between the Post sources range from weeks, not months, to a couple of months. All right. It says the Pentagon told the Daily Mail that it had nothing to offer on the matter. The White House did not immediately respond to a request for comment. All right. So you see what's happening, what's going on. All right. And I got this other article that lines up with this article. Right. So it says Iran warns it is waiting for the arrival of U.S. troops to set them on fire. Yeah, they're waiting for that ground operation, man. Iran about to do something dirty as hell to these U.S. troops, man. All right. It says with the Iran conflict nearing the 1 month mark, the prospect of a U.S. ground incursion is looking increasingly plausible. All right. It says the U.S. Department of War is reportedly drafting plans for weeks of potential ground operations in Iran. Iranian officials have issued stark warnings in response, vowing fierce retaliation. All right. Parliamentary Speaker Mohammed Bagher, all right, Galibaf, all right, said Iran is prepared for the arrival of American troops. He said Iranian forces are waiting for the arrival of American troops on the ground to set them on fire and punish their regional partners forever. Woo! All right, with great power shall they come. All right, they talking that talk, man. All right, meanwhile, Iran claims it inflicted major damage on U.S. military assets in the region. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps said its Air Force carried out a missile drone strike on Saudi Arabia's Al-Kharj Air Base, destroying at least one Boeing E-3 Sentry, a WACS surveillance aircraft. All right. Let's keep reading. It says the U.S. media reports and circulating images suggest a 270 million aircraft was destroyed. All right. Several others damaged and at least 12 American troops injured, though the Pentagon has not confirmed the scale of the reported losses. All right. It says at the same time, the Washington Post reported that the U.S. Department of War is drafting plans for weeks of potential ground operations. Officials cited all right, by the outlet said any mission will likely involve limited raids rather than a full-scale invasion with possible objectives including seizing Karj Island and key Iranian oil export hub. All right, here are the latest developments. All right, the IRGC threatened to target 2 unnamed U.S. and Israeli-linked educational facilities, all right, unless Washington formally condemns Israel by 12 p.m. Tehran time on Monday. Woo! All right, March 30th. And what's that? I think that's today. No, that's tomorrow, right? It says, while Iran's foreign ministry accused the U.S. and Israel of deliberately targeting the country's scientific and cultural infrastructures, citing strikes on major universities in Isfahan and Tehran. All right, so you know they're getting ready to target, it says, U.S. and Israeli linked educational facilities. Woo! Unless Washington formally condemns Israel by 12 p.m. Tehran time on Monday, March, all right, 30th. All right. So it says Yemen Houthis, who only recently declared their entry into the conflict, they said they launched a second wave of missiles and drone attacks on Israel and vowed to continue operations until Israeli action ceased. All right, protests against the war were reported in Tel Aviv and cities across the U.S. and Europe, and that's also prophecy. You know, uproars of the people on the earth. Sedition, right? Protests against the war were reported in Tel Aviv and cities across the U.S. and Europe, while in Lebanon, crowds gathered in Beirut after these journalists were killed in what was described as a targeted Israeli strike. All right, so you see what's happening, what's going on. All right, so you know this was the video just to report on some news, to let you know what's happening, what's going on, to let you know what time we're living in. All right, so you see what's happening, man. All right, so Lord willing, you know, this lesson is or was edifying. All right, call halal yum Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai Bahashim Rakah Quitash. All right, so on to the next one. Shalom, shalom.